I am Will Scott. You are watching Dolphins Today. Here is what's coming up on today's show. We're going to talk about some instant impact rookies that could play a role here in their first season with the Miami Dolphins. Plus, what is the Dolphins' biggest roster hole? They certainly filled a need at offensive tackle earlier this week, signing Isaiah Wynn. But what hole do they still have on this team? We'll tell you what ESPN had to say about that later on in today's show. But first, let's talk about this Bleacher Report article because they noted 3 Dolphins rookies that they think will have an instant impact on this football team this upcoming season. Of course, the Dolphins only had 4 draft picks. They feel like 3 of those guys can play a role right away. Dolphins, of course, had a lot of talented UDFAs they signed. They did not mention any UDFAs. They did mention, however, 3 of the Dolphins picks. Beginning with Cam Smith, who was the Dolphins' first pick. It came in the second round, and this pick shocked a lot of us. I don't think anybody had this guy on our radar screen. He was one of the best prospects on the board at number 51 overall, but we just didn't really feel like the Dolphins needed a cornerback. But when you look at what he did in his career at South Carolina, here's what he did in 2022. Allowed 2 touchdowns, 5 pass breakups, 1 interception, a 47.4% completion percentage, allowed 211 yards. So a lockdown corner for the Gamecocks in 2022. And when you're talking about Cam Smith and his development as a rookie, having Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey kind of show him the ropes, I think that's going to help him tremendously. And, he's not going to have to be extremely involved right away. He might play some slot corner here and there, but he's going to have an opportunity to learn under 2 of the best corners of this era in the National Football League in Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. So I'm really excited about Cam Smith. I think he can be really good. And again, you can't have enough depth at this position. But when I'm looking at his role for this year, I think he's going to be really good as a slot corner. Speaking of Jalen Ramsey, go pick up his jersey if you haven't already at chatsports.com/Ramsey. We know he is going to be wearing the number 5, so be sure to go pick up his jersey right now at chatsports.com/Ramsey. That link is in the comments and the description of today's video of chatsports.com/Ramsey. Taking a look at the Dolphins cornerback depth chart. So they certainly have depth here, more depth than they had at the start of the offseason because you have Jalen Ramsey. You have Xavier Howard, Kader Kohou made an all-rookie team last year. And I think Xavier, by the way, is going to be a lot better than he was last year. He's going to be healthier, and he's going to have Vic Fangio. Cam Smith, probably the 4th corner on this team going in next year, but you also have Nick Needham, who you re-signed, Keon Crossan. I don't think Igbo makes this team because Justin Bethel was pretty good on special teams last year. And then Trill Williams is going to be back healthy. You also have Bryce Thompson, who you just signed from the XFL Seattle Sea Dragons, and Ethan Bonner, the UDFA from Stanford. Do the Dolphins have a top 5 cornerback room? Type Y for yes or type in for no down in the comments section. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So when you get hit with an ad break, take advantage of it. Chime in Y for yes, in for no. I think not only do they have a top 5 room, I think they have the best cornerback room in the National Football League. Jalen Ramsey's arguably the best corner in the league right now. And some people might say, well, Xavier Howard is not as good as he was, therefore the Dolphins don't have the best room in the league. That's fair, but I think X is CB2 this year as opposed to CB1 the last couple of years is going to be really good. Not to mention, I think he's going to be back fully healthy. Vic Fangio going to cook with this cornerback room. Mike McDaniel going to cook with Devon Achane over on offense. I was really excited about this pick when the Dolphins made it. He's someone we talked about a lot as a possible draft target for the Dolphins, and they did end up taking him. Taking a look at the numbers this past year for Achane at Texas A&M, over 1,100 yards on 196 carries, 8 touchdowns, 5.6 yards per carry. The guy is insanely fast, too. Ran a 4.3 240 at the NFL Combine. Guy was a track star at Texas A&M. Mike McDaniel likes those speedy guys at the running back position. And then, hey, maybe use him as a return man as well. This might be a bold prediction. I think Devon Achane is going to lead the Dolphins in rushing yards this year. I just think that he's eventually going to be the number 1 guy at that position. Yeah, you have Raheem Mostert. Yeah, you have Jeff Wilson Jr. But when I look at Devon Achane, the upside is phenomenal. Yeah, he's a little bit undersized, but he's also going to be pretty tough to bring down with how quick and shifty he is. I don't think he's the RB1 week one, but I think by the end of the season, he will be the lead back on this Dolphins team and lead the Dolphins in rushing yards and make an all-rookie team as a running back. In fact, he might even be a dark horse for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Subscribe if you want any Dolphins news and rumors videos. We bring you daily Dolphins content here on Dolphins Today, so be sure you subscribe to the channel. Stay locked in to the Fins. Elijah Higgins, the third impact rookie that Bleacher Report went with here, and they could have gone with Ryan Hayes. They could have gone with maybe a UDFA like Aubrey Miller or Michael Turk, but they went with Elijah Higgins, the wide receiver that's converting to tight end here. He was a wide receiver at Stanford, 704 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11.9 yards per catch, 59 receptions. He led Stanford in receiving yards last year. Higgins being productive would be absolutely huge and would be a pleasant surprise if he can evolve into a top 2 tight end on this Dolphins team next year. I fully expect Durham Smythe to be the top guy at that position. But if that process goes well, converting him from a wide receiver to a tight end, which has been done plenty of times, including with Darren Waller, I would really be thrilled if he can be a productive player at his position in his rookie year. It would it'd be exceeding my expectations. I think a lot of people's expectations if he can break out here at the tight end position. Who's going to have the biggest impact as a rookie? Type CS for Cam Smith, type DA for Devon Achane, or type EH for Elijah Higgins down in the comment section. Go down and let me know. I think it's going to be Devon Achane, but let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Now let's talk about the biggest roster hole on the Dolphins, because you look at this team, they certainly filled some holes this year. Devon Achane kind of filled a hole he had at running back. Isaiah Wynn filled a need there at offensive tackle. David Long filled a big need for it inside linebacker. But what is, as of right now, the biggest roster hole in this team? ESPN says tight end. Yes, Durham Smythe and Eric Saubert are strong blockers, and that's what Mike McDaniel wants in the Miami offense. But it would be nice to have at least one tight end who is pretty good at getting open on routes, because you'll need that when the Dolphins are behind in games. Over the past 4 seasons combined, Smythe scored a 36 in the ESPN receiver ratings, while Saubert scored a 42. Both would rank amongst the lowest tight ends in the league if either had enough targets to qualify for the rankings. Behind those two is a receiving tight end, but he's a rookie. 6th-round pick Elijah Higgins played wide receiver at Stanford and is switching positions. So that's what ESPN has to say about the tight end room. What say you? What's your confidence level in the Dolphins tight end room right now? Scale it 1 to 10 down in the comment section. What is your confidence level in the Dolphins tight end room right now? Probably a 4 or 5 for me. You have 6 tight ends right now. They did not mention Tanner Connor, who I'm excited about. I think he's going to get more involved here in his second year. The UDFA last year out of Idaho State. He also was a wide receiver to tight end convert, by the way. Durham Smythe, Eric Saubert, Tanner Connor. I think those are your top 3 guys. Not to mention, you did sign Tyler Kroft last week, one of the 4 recent signings Miami has made in the past week. Elijah Higgins is the 6th-round pick, and then Julian Hill, the UDFA out of Campbell. Passing on Darnell Washington was disappointing, man. And look, I like the Cam Smith pick right now. I think he's going to be a good player. But Darnell Washington could have been an impact player for you from day one. And you passed on him not once, but twice. And he was falling because of rumored medical issues. Turns out his knee's fine, and he shouldn't have fallen as far as he did. He fell all the way to Pittsburgh in late round 3. So Darnell Washington was our dream target. He was supposed to be a first-round pick, and then he fell to the 3rd round because of fake news on his medical stuff. But, man, I wish the Dolphins would not have passed on Darnell Washington, because you certainly still have a hole at tight end, in my opinion. Hopefully Durham Smythe steps up there, but Darnell Washington would have been nice. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Also follow me on Twitter at WillScott44. Hit me up if you have any questions about the Fins.